Paranormal Adventures proudly presents the Supernatural Roundtable, a journey into the shadows of the unknown, where myths and legends blur with reality. Join your hosts, Sean, Craig, and Richard, as they explore the unexplained, diving deep into the chilling mysteries of the supernatural. From the towering figure of Bigfoot lurking in the forests, to the eerie whispers of Dogman and the elusive presence of Mothman, we seek the truth behind the world's most elusive cryptids, ghostly apparitions, otherworldly encounters, and the unseen forces that linger in the darkness await. Together, we'll explore UFOs, government cover-ups, and the forgotten history buried beneath decades of secrecy. What are the origins of these mysteries? What are the consequences of their existence? And more importantly, what do they mean for us? Prepare yourself to venture beyond the veil of reality. Turn down the lights, listen closely, and step into the unknown, because the supernatural world is closer than you think. This is the Supernatural Roundtable.
This is kind of a Cryptids Unleashed kind of episode, because right now it's I think my wife's supposed to join us here in a little bit, but each of us have come up with 2 cryptids apiece, which I initially was going to say we're going to take a deep dive into them, but we don't have time for a deep dive. We got time for a shallow dive into each one of them. So try not to hit any rocks on the way down. But I think it's going to be a pretty good episode, and I think we got some good ones to start out with. And Craig, actually, the ones that you came up with, I thought were pretty fascinating when you were talking about it and with your personal experience. If you want to get us kicked off, we'll let you talk about your 2. Then we'll just go from there and see what happens.
Okay, all right. Of course, I chose the Jersey Devil, and it's a very, very interesting cryptid. It's said to inhabit the forest of the Pine Barrens in South New Jersey or South Jersey. It is also known as the Leeds Devil, said to be the unwanted 13th child of a woman named Mother Leeds, who in the 1730s cursed the baby, declaring it, "Let it be the devil," because she was overwhelmed by the prospect of having another child. When the child was born, it is said that it transformed into a monstrous creature with wings, hooves, and a tail. It is often described by people as a horse-like creature with bat wings, a forked tail, and glowing red eyes, and capable of making loud screeching sounds. Despite being only a legend, sightings of the creature have been reported for centuries in the folklore. And to ward off the Jersey Devil is with iron or salt. It is said to have raided chicken coops, farms, destroyed crops, killed livestock, terrorized trolley cars, social clubs, and to have attacked people on roads and in fields. Now, as far as attacks go on people, I found this one interesting one, and it was apparently published by the press and carried in a newspaper. And it was a story about a fisherman who claimed to have captured the Jersey Devil between Atlantic City and Brigantine. Said it was a fierce battle until the old sea dog struck the creature with an oar. The creature supposedly was 5 feet in height and 150 pounds. And then I guess I'll go ahead and tell my little story because my sighting looked a lot like the Jersey Devil. I had to get up go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning. Of course, it was cold. It was wintertime. So I went outside to start my vehicle and warm it up. And I got out there by my vehicle and I heard this awful screeching sound. I mean, it was like almost ear piercing. And I was trying to focus and look and see where it was coming from. And in the backyard, we had two big pecan trees. And I looked up in the very top of that tree and I seen it. And it was pretty big, but it took off and it flew straight over me. I could see the silhouette and how wide its wings were. I'd have to give or take his wing. The wingspan was at least 12 foot, but it flew over me and went south, and I lost sight of it. But that's my actual sighting, and of course, my next cryptid is Mothman, and it's kind of similar to the Jersey Devil in some ways, especially with the wings. The Mothman, it's a cryptid, a mythical creature that originated in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. It is described as a large winged humanoid creature with glowing red eyes. Mothman is considered to be a bad omen by many, and apparently was spotted before disasters, uh, namely including like the 1967 collapse of the Silver Bridge and the 1999 Russian apartment bombings, just to name a few. Was apparently also sighted during the Chernobyl, right before the Chernobyl incident, and also even before 9/11. Um, the last really known sightings that I guess were actually recorded, one was in Flagstaff, Arizona in July of 2020. Another one was in Rockford, Illinois in June of 22. Some say the creature is either bad luck or is causing the disasters in some way. Others speculate Mothman may be able to see the future and that the monster appears to warn people of impending doom. So that's a pretty interesting story there, how he prepares for disaster. Shows up. They say he shows up even before earthquakes and tsunamis.
Yeah.
But I don't think all the sightings are getting reported. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people are too scared to report what they seen. But anyway, whichever one wants to start the next one, go right ahead.
On that sighting you had, talk about it a little for a
Okay.
moment. I figured we might talk about them a little bit after you're done. But was that where you're at now, or was that somewhere else?
No, I was actually living in town in Dardanelle.
Yeah.
Basically, I guess you might say almost the center of town.
I was just kind of wondering if that was where if it was there where you're at now or not.
No, it wasn't. But it was next to the chicken plant. I wonder if it smelt the dead chickens.
It could have been something from the power plant over there.
Well, I never thought of that. Yeah, I mean possibility. But luckily there wasn't no disasters right after.
Yeah, what year was that? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was It was when they had all them layoffs back around 2014 and 15. You know, everybody was laying off. The economy got real bad. And I was working at Superior Graphite at the time. And then I got laid off from it. And I had the only job available, I had to go as a grill cook for McDonald's. So that's where I was working. I was getting up early to go to McDonald's to cook breakfast.
I was thinking that I don't know if you ever heard the Ray Stevens song. You know Ray Stevens.
Oh, yeah.
He had a song called Teenage Mutant Kung Fu Chickens. I was thinking about that the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, I just remember there was a fire at Nuclear One years ago too. I just wondered if that was around that time.
You know, I never thought about that. There really was, and they was thinking about evacuating at that time. But I can't remember the year.
It says 2013, so roughly around that time period. Maybe a couple of years off.
Yeah.
Well, it could have been 2013 because in 2015 or no, late 2014, I went to work for Walmart. So I worked for McDonald's for about a year. So that time period would be about right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had an industrial accident on March 2013, and then they had another incident in December 2013.
Oh man, that kind of makes me wonder.
You talk about it could have been the Mothman, not the Jersey Devil.
Well, yeah, you know they're both kind of similar.
Yeah.
Got the glowing red eyes and all that.
I don't know. I got to thinking about it when you're telling the story, and I'm like, wait a minute. I remember a fire breaking out at Nuclear One at one point, an industrial accident. I think a person was killed in each event that happened.
I
I,
believe
I
you're right.
remember I remember something happening, but I couldn't remember what happened. And it decided it wanted to save Craig from the disaster. The one person from the whole town.
Or it wanted a snack.
Yeah.
He's cooking breakfast.
He
Well,
might have wanted some of them dead chickens over there at the chicken plant.
Yeah, you were literally right across the road.
Yeah, I know. Summer times were bad. It stunk bad.
Yeah, it was oof, that smell.
Well, that's pretty interesting. I'm glad you kind of looked that up, Richard.
That's what I do.
All righty. Next up, one of y'all take it off.
I'll let you go ahead with yours, Richard.
All right, mine. The first one I got is one that a lot of people have never heard of, called the Ningen, which is Japanese for human, which is weird if you think about a cryptid. But it seemed to have popped up in the early 2000s. Reports stated that a Japanese whale research ship in Antarctic waters observed a huge blubbery white figure on the ocean surface one night. Initially, it was so large they mistook it for a submarine. As they got closer, the creature had appeared with human-like characteristics of arms, legs, and a face. As they got even closer, it submerged and disappeared out of sight. So, in the realm of cryptids, this is not one that has a long history of, say, the Jersey Devil or the other one I'm going to cover here in a minute. Anyway, in 2005, Google Earth imagery captured a picture of something that was a large white blob off the coast of Namibia, which is off the southern coast of, or the eastern coast of Africa. It was large enough that you could actually see it from Google Earth.
Oh, I'm out of frame now.
Hey, we can't see y'all. Scoot in closer.
Girl has arrived. I was getting ready for a date later.
Sorry for the interruption.
You're good. And then another alleged sighting appeared in can't get off me. In 2010 in Enoshima, Japan. alleges the Ningen was caught on film by a aquarium of all things. But the aquarium later disputed that. But the images apparently showed a rock-shaped formation on the ocean floor that had a face that was almost grinning at the camera.
Get you more in the frame here.
Did they ever say whether or not it had like claws or anything?
No, it doesn't appear that there was anything claw related. Oh, Google
My
Maps.
my thing is, how did they mistake it for a submarine?
Well, the mass of it, because 20 to 30 meters long, which is what, 60 to, between the 60 and 80 feet range. That's huge. I mean, if not that, then a whale. In fact, a lot of people have even said maybe it's just a beluga whale that's been mistaken, mistaken identity, but beluga whales are not in southern waters. Beluga whales stay in the Arctic region of the oceans.
And do the beluga whales, do they get that big?
They get pretty big, 20, 30 feet. So
I was just curious.
this thing is technically larger than beluga whales.
Right.
Then there were multiple sightings between 2013 and 2016 in the Pacific Ocean. Apparently, a few grainy images in videos of a mysterious blubber monster human, as they put it, figure swimming in icy waters. The footage is extremely blurry, of course, but it fueled new discussion about the cryptid in the community. And to my knowledge, it has not been sighted since. So it's one of the newer cryptids out there. No idea if it's real or not. It's kind of wild story though.
Right. And when was the last sighting?
2016.
2016. I wonder why there haven't been no more.
I died.
Well, or that, and let's figure. Look how big the ocean is.
That's very true.
The ocean.
And look how deep it is.
That and how many sailors are going to get online like, hey, I saw a sea monster.
And like the giant squid, it's fairly recently discovered.
Yeah.
It wasn't that many years ago since giant squid was discovered.
Well, I look at it this way: the ocean, that's one of the few places that we cannot go to the depths of it. We don't know what's all in there.
That giant squid could have been a lot of sources for the Kraken.
And
probably was.
This isn't a sea animal, but in Africa there's talk about hairy creatures in the forest of Africa, and in the early 1900s they finally discovered the gorillas.
Actually, I think it's closer to the 1940s and 50s when they were discovered fully for science.
Well, wasn't it like 70s or so that one of the mountain gorillas was discovered?
I don't know.
Something like that.
Short. I don't know exactly how long. I can probably Google it real quick if my phone will cooperate with me. But we discover new things all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, let's see. Okay, we're all wrong. Looks like first recorded sighting of a gorilla was in 1847.
Maybe I was thinking of the 19th century, not the.
I was talking about it was a certain type of mountain gorilla.
You're probably right. What was it, the Bondi ape or something like that? Was only recently recognized by science, I believe.
It was. I can't remember where it was.
It's a bigger version of a chimp. They call them lion killers. That says
They scared the crap out of me too.
Yeah.
That's probably off subject. I don't know, but there's some scientists and people that think that Bigfoot and a lot of those giant apes are the Gigantopithecus that came over the land bridge during the Ice Age, or I don't know.
See, I don't really believe that, but I I'm not going to shoot down any theory because we just don't know.
Yeah,
You're pushing me over.
it's Dealey. Blame the dog.
I'm blaming you.
All right, I'm going to move on to my next one. This one has a lot more history and a lot more lore to it than the first, called the Brosno Dragon. Brosno Dragon was first apparently sighted in the 13th century during the Mongol invasion of Rus, which is when the Mongols came through into Russia and were trying to conquer everything. Apparently, the story goes they arrived at this lake Brosno, and they were tired from their journey, so they're watering their horses, and this dragon, this huge monster, came up out of the lake and started attacking them. It so disturbed that Batu Khan, who was the grandson of Genghis Khan, that they abandoned that campaign in that area, and thus it saved the city of Novgorod, which I don't know. I think that might be Moscow nowadays. Not sure on that. Anyway, folklore continues to tell that when Vikings came through and tried to bury treasure out there, they'd row out to the middle of this lake, and then this dragon appeared out of the depths of the water and kept them from hiding treasure there. So this is a tale that goes all the way back to the 1300s, and it's become a celebrity of sorts around that area, of course, like most lake monsters do. But one interesting appearance of it was during World War II when a Nazi pilot was apparently shot down and had to bail out over the lake. His parachute was recovered, but he never was. Eyewitness reports say they saw a large set of jaws come up and swallow him whole.
Boy, not a very good way to go.
No,
No.
it's said to be big enough to swallow men and horses in one bite. I don't have a total I don't have how big it is. Of course, sightings persist into the 90s. They even dispatched an expedition trying to figure out, if they could find it. And during one of the expeditions, they did get a massive radar ping in the lake. But when they got close enough to it, they even launched underwater depth charges trying to bring this thing up, and it just didn't work. And the sightings continued through in the early 2000s, and they are still ongoing today.
Just curious, how deep is that lake?
I do not know. I'm going to try to figure that out now. From what I understand, it's pretty deep lake.
Probably about like Lake Champlain or Erie.
Probably. But either way, it's kind of crazy this story has stuck around so long.
No doubt. I mean, plumb to the age of the Mongols and stuff. I mean, that's back when Genghis Khan was around.
Yeah.
It's not as deep as we think. The maximum depth seems to be 141 feet, which that's still pretty deep.
Well, yeah,
So
could be underwater caves and stuff there, though.
yeah, I don't. The information that I can pull up on Lake Brosno is just very limited.
Very vague.
Yeah, it's in Russia. You're not going to get a lot of information out of that unless I was in Russia.
Right.
Anyway, that's my two down. One new one, one old one. Your turn, Sean.
Yeah.
Crystal.
You want to go next or you want me to?
You can if you want to.
So I got my notes up here on the screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
So y'all already know that I did mine more of a story style, so we'll get into it a little bit. Standing 7 feet tall with the eyes ranging from blue to amber, this creature is said to be a bipedal canine like animal with the torso of a man. They are said to have frightening howl that sounds like a human scream. The first, my mic's in the way. Sorry. The first seen in 1887. They are said to appear every 10 years that end with 7. I just lost my place. Sorry.
You're good.
They are said to be scared off by the sound of loud clapping. The Ottawa tribe have legends of this creature roaming and stalking along the banks of the Manistee River. Did I say that right?
Show me where it's at.
Right there. Yet the first
Manistee.
Yet the first so-called encounter occurred in 1887 in Wexford County. 2 lumberjacks saw a man with a dog head. Then in Paris, Michigan in 1937, Robert Fortney claimed to have been attacked by 5 dogs, one of which walked on its hind legs. Other reports come from Allegheny County in the 1950s, then again in Cross Village in 1967. A series of sightings occurred in Ottawa County, Grand Haven from 1993 to 1994. 3 claims come from a man only known as Ben, who saw the creature in his parents' driveway in December of 1993. Another claim comes from an unknown source in the same area as Ben in 1994. This claim, the person thought he hit a deer, but there was no body found, and all that remained was gray fur in the person's car grill. Is the Dogman real? Can clapping really scare it off? Who knows? But if you're walking into the woodlands of northwest Michigan, make sure you take dog treats and a tennis ball. So, yeah,
A tennis ball?
yeah.
Like in chase
So when the Dogman comes after you, throw the tennis ball and he chases the tennis ball and he get away.
Might not hurt to have a dog whistle.
Maybe. But the dog whistle calls it to you.
Throw some dog treats.
Well, yeah, but you know he can come in and get the dog treats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You bringing up Dogman? Have you ever heard of the massacre at Land Between the Lakes?
I've heard of it.
Seems like I have, but I don't remember much about it.
That was said to have been a Dogman, and I'm not sure on the dates of it, but a family was killed. Mother, father, and their children were killed by apparently a Dogman. The story goes they even brought in the National Guard and they killed something back in there. So
Well, I mean, Dogman's been around for years. It's like the legend of Bigfoot. I mean, and the Indians talk about it. And of course, Bigfoot is supposed to be the protector of the woods, and Dogman is Bigfoot's enemy. He supposedly protected the Indians from Dogman.
I've also heard reports of them running together too. So I don't know. It's a weird rabbit hole.
What one story I heard about Dogman was that the body size was compared to Arnold Schwarzenegger. So it's kind of a bodybuilding Dogman. And I'm sitting here going, thinking if him and Bigfoot got into it, I don't know who would win.
My money's still on Bigfoot.
Yeah, I think so.
But Dogman has that bite though. He's got dog teeth, so it might hurt a little bit.
Might hurt, but you ain't gonna bite if you have a broken jaw.
Yeah. So my next one comes from Ohio. This this one's not as scary as Dogman, but standing only 4 feet, this creature isn't as great or ominous as most cryptids you think about. First reported in 1955, and I think this was really the only true report on the creature. But first reported in 1955 by a bit. They vary between him being a businessman or a traveling salesman who was driving at night. It is said in one account he was driving to the Branch Hill neighborhood. He saw 3 figures standing along the side of the road, along the roadside. They had leathery skin and frog faces. In another account, he spotted the creatures under a poorly lit bridge. As he came upon the creatures, one held a wand over his head that sprayed sparks. On March 3rd, 1972, Officer Ray Shockey was driving Riverside Drive near Toad's Boot Factory in the Little Miami River. He saw an unknown animal cross the road in front of him. His headlights fully illuminated the animal. He claims that he was only 3 to 4 feet long and roughly 50 to 75 pounds, with leathery skin. The animal was said to have crouched like a frog before standing erect and climbing the guardrail. 2 weeks after Shockey's report, Officer Mark Matthews reported seeing a similar animal crouched along the road in the same area as Shockey. Matthews shot the animal and recovered the body. According to Matthews, it was a large iguana. The thoughts were the iguana either got away or released because it was too large. Shockey confirmed that it was the same creature, but failed to recognize it due to the animal missing its tail. Escaped iguana, magical frogs. We only know the truth about one of them. So, but that was the only real sighting of the magical frogs was from 1955, and the stories kind of vary on it, but I always thought it was pretty neat. They're called the Loveland frogs.
Oh, Sean froze up.
Oh,
You
There
froze
he is.
up.
He's come back. You froze for a minute.
you did too.
We're here.
So are we good now?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. So I always thought the Frogman was kind of cool. just thinking about a frog holding a wand over its head, I was like, that's kind of neat. So
I don't know. I would kind of think I was on drugs if I seen something like that.
Okay.
I thought, a frog with a sparkly wand. It could be an ugly kid with a sparkler.
That
So.
too.
At least with mushrooms right there.
Or J.K. Rowling had it wrong and Harry Potter was a frog all along.
There you go.
We just seen him on a quest.
Right?
It was actually the half elf from Harry Potter.
Dobby.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, Nami?
Dobby.
Dobby, yeah.
Okay, you got a couple?
I can I'll just do the one about unicorns, I guess.
Okay.
Let me see. I'm going to turn this around. It's the picture it shows up on this is like a whitish gray horse with a horn. Oh, I don't know.
The camera's up there.
Okay.
Not showing it too well, but I think I can possibly overlay that and edit too. So
We'll have Richard put some pictures up.
Yeah, it's fine. But
Let's
it's
just get it right
just,
this time.
I've always liked them. I love horses, so of course, being I guess maybe even a typical girl growing up, I liked unicorns. So, and I don't know. I always like wondering if they could have been real, existed back in the day. But
they were mentioned in the Bible, so
yeah, so and Pegasus,
yeah.
but
Okay, now just curiosity, I've heard, they got old horror stories of unicorns that were evil.
really,
Yeah, if you go, there's how the old fairy tales used to be.
yeah,
They weren't actually fairy tales with good endings. They were actually horror stories.
like the Grimm brothers. Theirs were really
Yeah.
dark. Yeah, poor
Uh,
Disney made them all cute. Yeah.
if you ever watch the cartoon called Gravity Falls, unicorns are pretty selfish.
Do you want me to just go ahead and read about that on it says Cryptid Wiki. So there's a Wikipedia for cryptid stuff.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
It says in mythology, a unicorn is simply an animal. Most commonly seen is the horse with a single horn. The unicorn's single horn is supposed to be on the midline of the body, such as the center of the forehead, and it needs to have grown there naturally, I guess, obviously. So, nearly everyone agrees that a two-horned animal with one horn that broke off or a failed to grow is not a unicorn. Okay. And then it says, beyond this fact, it is hard to define a unicorn. A multitude of different unicorn species populated the mythology of nations in Europe, Asia, and Africa. The original unicorn seems to be the one, excuse me, spoken of in myths from India. It was often thought to live in inaccessible mountainous terrain, such as the mountains of Tibet. This animal seemed like a wild ass or antelope with one horn. The unicorn of China combined body parts from several animals and was perhaps the smallest unicorn. Its horn was short, soft, and harmless. And then I wanted to go down here because it shows like a skeleton of something. I think it's like kind of an explanation on the legend. Let me look at this real quick. The rhinoceros, I think, was what it's saying. Yes, because of its single nose horn, the rhinoceros was often called a unicorn. Technically, it fits the requirement of having a single natural centered horn, but it does not look like the general type of unicorn that the largest number of myths have focused on. Despite this, the rhinoceros is often trotted out as the all purpose explanation for all unicorn sightings, including those in Europe, where medieval peasants would not have had a chance to see any such creature. Note, ancient and medieval Europe regularly traded with Africans, and though the peasants were unlikely to, more wealthy individuals certainly did travel to Africa. So I guess they're saying that could be like a reason for some of the behind the legends of it.
But there's some people that claim like I think the pronghorn deer or antelope or whatever could have been confused as a unicorn because if you're looking at them sideways, it looks like they only have one horn because the other, just the way the horns line up.
I can see that.
But that would be a closer resemblance to a horse than a rhino would be.
They're always going to be a horse with the horn for me. It's like, what you see in myths and legends and fairy tales. It's my kind of unicorn, and the kind I collect. So
Here's something you might not be taking into account is the fact that there's unicorn legends apparently all over the world, from China to Europe.
And dragons too.
Yeah, dragons too, because that Lake Brosno dragon, that's another dragon. you know?
Yeah.
So legends abound, that's for sure.
We've got a listener on Podbean, so
That's awesome.
Sweet.
I was interacting.
Oh, cool. Thanks for listening.
He's one of us. He's a redneck. So
Ain't
No,
nothing wrong with
right.
that. But
I
anyway,
always think they're pretty, so
Yeah.
they just I always like picture them as being majestic and like I don't know. Even the Lord of the Rings when the white horse comes up, Shadow, whatever his name is,
Shadowfax.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I'm a
Listening to
Lord of the Rings nerd, so I'd know that.
yeah.
So I'm
yeah, I
curious.
like all that too.
Okay, here's something interesting. Unicorns, despite their majestic and approachable nature in today's fiction, are actually known in the lore as deceptively violent in nature.
That's what he was saying. That's what Frank said. You're right.
Traditionally, a unicorn would be drawn to purity of a virgin, but if one was merely pretending to be a virgin, a unicorn would actually kill the person.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
you'll be dead.
Yeah, so that's kind of crazy.
Gives you a little different perspective of unicorn.
Yeah, I always thought of him as these sweet, shy beings that would be out and drinking water from a waterfall and like.
Yeah, I knew. I just knew about all the
Yeah.
the grim stories about them, and there's a lot of folklore about it. And they're pretty violent and pretty strong, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it
Tell
is
me
a horse body, so there's that. I mean, horses are powerful, and like you were saying about the Grimm legends, almost every European fairy tale, if you look back at the original fairy tale, they don't have happy endings. They're very dark and depressing,
Yeah.
which I think also reflects how medieval Europe was at the time, dark and depressing.
I think
Right.
they frightened children back then and maybe even try to scare them from going into the woods or wandering off by telling them these really scary tales that would give you nightmares.
Well, it even goes as far to say as, Mother Goose, she was always, popular, with young kids, but their version of it is a lot different.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, what's that one children's song? Pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all
Yeah.
fall down. That's about the
That was
Black
from the
Death.
Yeah, from the Black Plague. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
It's describing the symptoms of the Black Death, and that's just if you hear that, knowing that, you're like, yeah, that's actually morbid as hell.
Yeah, it is.
And like the London Bridge song, where London Bridge is falling down.
Uh-huh.
People are crazy.
I think that was actually made a little different. I can't remember. I've heard the more horrific version of it.
Yeah. Then there's the rhyme from over here of what's her name? The girl that killed her parents.
Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie Borden.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gave her daddy 40 whacks.
Yeah.
What was it? Gave her mother 40 more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Lisa.
yeah. Really look at it. That's disturbing.
I've gone delved into that case a lot and seen a lot of documentaries. She did it and she got away with it. I mean, they never convicted her, but so much points to her having done it and what was in her family background and what was going on in that house.
Mm-hmm.
She did it and got away with it. Back then, they didn't have the forensics and stuff that we do today.
I think we still have. Well, we got 15 minutes if you wanted to dive into.
If there's another one you want to cover, go ahead.
I know you were talking
Yeah,
about
I've
mermaids.
always been kind of fascinated with mermaids, like wondering if like people like that could exist anywhere in the past. I mean, there's always been like the Odyssey and stuff like that, the sirens of Circe and all that, and they would sink the sailors, and so
Well, apparently there's been a lot of sightings and there's videos out there, but you don't know if they're real or not.
yeah, and people post a lot of AI stuff that's just crazy looking,
Right.
fake.
But even mermaids, there's horror stories of them.
I got duped one time. Uh-oh, what'd you do?
Nothing, keep going.
Okay. I watched this documentary. I didn't know what a mockumentary was. This is back in like the late 90s, when the early 2000s.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think it was in the early 2000s, I want to say, but they did that one about the merman or whatever, and they looked scary, but it ended up being a mockumentary. I was like, really? I just got duped.
There's actually people that are professional mermaids, though.
Yeah,
that
they dress up with the tails and
they
everything.
they get to customize tails and all
I
that
wanna do
stuff.
that.
Now, going back to the dark stuff again, because of course me. I know there's a legend in the Amazon about a river mermaid. I think they call it the water mama or something like that, but it's not
Oh,
pleasant because she will
yeah.
lure fishermen to their deaths and drag them under.
I've heard that one. They said apparently there's been a lot of deaths contributed to that one.
Yeah, but then again, given that it is the Amazon and everything there wants to kill you, I can see how folklore would take over on that one. Or even like I know the Amazon river dolphins are not pleasant to be around.
Or the anacondas.
Dolphins.
I mean, the Amazon has how many different species of big fish in there? From
Oh
God,
gosh,
I can't remember.
I can name a couple. I know the arapaima, the paraiba. There you've got the yellowtail catfish. You've got, oh boy, the wolffish, which is not as big but still deadly.
I think they have a version of the whales too, don't they? The whales catfish.
No, not the whales. It's the paraiba is the one that gets real. I mean, they all get
Yeah.
big, but paraiba is the one that will. It looks more shark-like, and
Right.
I think they can get up to 400 pounds. They've
And then
been
there's the ones that'll get you the piranhas.
piranhas. There's also multiple species of piranhas. There's one that's big. I say big. It's about 3 feet. I mean, that's the.
Goodness.
I might be a little bit off on that. It's the black
I would
piranha.
those.
And yeah, I mean, electric eels, then you've got the caimans, then you got the jaguars, and I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, that's a scary place to go.
I want to go.
Especially you do?
Yeah, hell yeah, I want to go.
I'd want a guide or something so I didn't get eaten.
Well, I don't want to go by myself.
Yeah.
Redneck disappears in the rainforest here.
Yeah, I've heard some kind of like you about the some like scarier mermaid legends too. That's pops up about 'em, like they would like appear lovely and beautiful, but then they'd
Right.
just
They would
warm
attack
and
sailors.
yeah.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. The largest living piranha species is the red-bellied piranha. They grow up to 50 centimeters, 20 inches, while some reports reach up to 60 centimeters, which is 24 inches.
Wow, that's a
So
big
basically 2 foot. That's pretty big.
yeah.
Yeah.
That could definitely take a chunk out of you.
Just nibble.
Of course, we got guard to worry about.
Right.
She
The alligator gar.
she's all about swimming with the dolphins and all that. I will not touch a dolphin because male dolphins are rapey, and
Male dolphins will what?
They will
they will
do
they will
things.
try
Yeah.
they will try to rape you.
They have. It's off topic here, but they'll use fish heads as marital aids. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
My.
Been in the Gulf once, and the dolphins came up close to us.
Yeah, because they wanted
to. They didn't hurt nobody. It was actually kind of cool.
You'll think that after they're done with you.
Oh my word.
Yeah, the black piranha or the piranha you're talking about can get up to 6 pounds. So imagine 6 pounds with razor sharp teeth.
Imagine that hitting you in the shin while you're wading into water.
It's going to leave a bloody gash. And then there's.
Well, if there's a swarm of them, you're not going to have a leg left to stand on, probably. Bones left.
So we're down to about 9 minutes, it looks like. So we might start wrapping it up a little bit, I think.
Alrighty.
Well, we talked about doing it last time, kind of previewing the next episode we're going to do, and you were excited about this next episode.
I am. We're and y'all heard me talk about it. She's heard me talk about it, but I think it's more of a kind of along the true crime route. But it's the Yuba County 5. It's kind of a mysterious.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Some people compare it to call it the American Dyatlov, because there's 5 guys that went. We'll get into a lot of it in the next episode, but these 5 guys went to a college basketball game and ended up disappearing, and they found the remains of 4 of the 5 guys. The 5th one was never found. But they all had some sort of. All of them had a mental disability. The one was in the military and it ended up with some sort of mental disability while he was in. So it is pretty tragic what happened to them, but
it is.
they were
functioning.
They were high functioning, but
they had problems.
But they were all part. They were all part of the Special Olympics basketball team. So, but they had enough disability that they were in the Special Olympics. So,
yeah, looking forward to that one. I've read a little bit on it already, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. There's a lot. I know there's a documentary about it. Then there's another podcast that it really dives into their background and a lot about them personally. That it's like a 7-episode podcast about them and what happened to them and everything. But it's tragic but interesting. So I think. Craig, I think me and you talked about possibly getting into a little bit of the true crime stuff as well, because there's a lot of it that has a lot of mystery to it as well. That's unsolved or
like the Texarkana murders.
Yeah.
Too.
So
I never found the guy.
That I believe that one's over closer to where you are, Richard. The guy the town that's afraid of.
Town of dreaded sundown.
That's it.
It is Texarkana though, but it's a couple hours from here, but I can make it.
So anyway, yeah, we're going to be looking into the Yuba County 5 coming up in the next one. So
then after that, you guys said I got to pick one.
Yeah, it'll be your turn. So
I'm still debating
I'm
on that
sorry, I
one.
think we skipped over you a couple times there,
No,
but
that's fine. It's fine. This is enjoyable, and
Yeah, it's been a real blast.
yeah, and
Uh,
I get to do
Anyone
research.
listening, if like and share our
um,
podcast and also subscribe to us. We could use it.
Yeah,
yeah, and
leave a comment on YouTube.
um, of course you can find us on Podbean, which we're doing Podbean live right now, and you can look at us, look us up on Facebook, which we've got Paranormal Adventures with Sean and Crystal's our Facebook page. That's our original title for the show anyway. So, but then let's say email us at paranormaladventures2@gmail.com. I'm not letting you mess that up this time. Yeah. Uh, let's see. Then y'all have got the Arky Squashers Facebook page, which if anybody's interested in that, go join that. Am I missing anything? Definitely. I am.
If anybody wants to share a story with us or whatever, just uh, send an email to that Paranormal Adventures too,
Yeah.
and we'll do it on the show. Or if you want to come on the show, we'll bring you on and you can tell your story live.
Yeah.
Big Jim to join y'all one time.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it should be good. So, but I guess we're trying to do them every other Wednesday. So this just was a technicality with the sound system. So,
Yeah.
Hopefully, it won't happen again. Oh.
yeah. But well, I guess that's all we've got for today.
I'm signing out with the duck.
That works.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown. This has been the Supernatural Roundtable, where mysteries are explored and the truth is always up for debate. Until next time, keep your mind open and your lights on.